Hello and welcome to the Buildup. This is the podcast for marketing in the construction industry. I'm Dan, the creative director at Dissident. We've been working with construction brands for a number of years. It's an exciting and rapidly evolving industry, and that's why we created a podcast dedicated to the weird and wonderful world of construction marketing. I'll be speaking to leading brands, other agencies, creatives, influencers and startups. This is the resource I wish we had when we first started out in the industry. Thank you for being here and welcome to the Buildup. Welcome to another episode of the Buildup. I'm Dan, the creative director at Dissident. We're a social-first creative agency that makes cool, hard-hitting content and social media marketing for construction brands. And today I'm joined by Craig Hancock. I don't know why I checked. I don't know why I checked my phone because I've known you for years.
I know you, but Craig.
And Craig, you are. Am I right? So freelance, but you actually do long-term projects with brands and stuff like that.
With Ignite, so Ignite Facilities, one of the main brands, but helping out with their marketing. So I think it's a great idea to come on the podcast and have a chat with you.
And you've had experience in like construction industry in the past with other brands and stuff like that. So I thought it'd be really, really cool. And we've not. Shout out Key in the new Dissident hoodie as well. Yeah. Check out the piece. Can you tell we only got these on Friday? And it literally came in, the whole team's all wearing the new Dissident merch.
You all look very good though.
Thank you.
And everyone is wearing it.
Yeah, we all look immaculate.
Put a shot up in the middle of this of just the whole team wearing them now.
You watch. We'll one wash and these will be wrecked. But yeah, it's nice to have some creatives on the podcast, which is something I've been talking about for a while, because we get the in-house marketers, we get the agency guys, but it's nice to see some proper creative, because your background's design, right?
Yeah, so I've worked for a few different creative agencies, digital agencies, specialising in print and digital, and then took the punt and sort of went at it on my own. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think when we first met, I was working for quite a big agency, and I've just carried on my journey, and it's just evolved from there. Wicked.
And so I thought it'd be really nice to kind of get you in from the kind of more creative perspective, also again marketing as a whole, because I remember, your big thing's brand, right?
Yeah.
I've always known you as being really, really focused on brand, which is massive in construction, and I don't think brand actually gets enough kind of airtime when it comes to the marketers and stuff like that. I think when you think about branding exercises and all that kind of thing, you think of Surreal or all these big brands that go mad on their creativity and their culture and stuff like that. But brand and positioning's massive in construction, and it needs to get more of more. I'm nerd out about brand as well, so I'm kind of biased in that respect.
I got to admit, Surreal is one of my favourites, and I think that whoever runs their marketing, you would go, that's not going to work, and then it works. Mm-hmm. And even on LinkedIn, which I think it's B2B focused there. Mm-hmm. Their marketing is not B2B focused as we would think of it. If you went to a uni lecture, you would not be taught that.
No.
But then it works so well. I think just because it is so out there, it just really, I think a lot of people resonate with it.
Mm. Yeah.
But I love Surreals.
It's just fucking cereal. You know what I mean? you know Surreal. They're like a marketer's it's like marketing porn. Yeah. It's just like a cereal company. They just do really cool stuff.
It's high protein. Yeah, they got Barry Scott back. Look, have you brought any cereal though? No, I found that. So I love the marketing, and loads of people in our industry love cereals marketing. And you go, have you brought any? What's it taste like?
No idea.
So I think we all love the marketing, but then have we brought it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. My excuse is I don't actually eat cereal at all. The only time I will, if I'm hungover, I'll eat cereal. And that's pretty much it, really. I just as a rule, not that it's relevant to this podcast, but I don't really eat breakfast, again, unless I'm hungover. In which case,
if they're listening to this, there's going to be a Surreal campaign of, have you had a good drink?
Yeah.
Surreal.
Yeah, that is an angle. That's an angle,
and
right?
Barry's got behind it going bang, and your hangover's going slowly.
So background in marketing, design, work with quite a few construction brands. Now you work for. Do you want? I mean, you might as well tell us about Ignite, because I think that's going to sort of set the precedent for the rest of the conversation. Give us a little intro to Ignite, kind of what they do and what you do with those guys.
Yeah, I mean, for me, so obviously I come from agencies and then sort of gone on my own. Ignite, sort of one of the biggest clients of mine, and that's who I'm happy to talk about because especially they're within the trades industry.
Yes.
I mean, they were founded in 2018, and it's Chris and Rachel who run the company. They've got a background within facilities management, so it started off primarily as sort of like your plumbing and your heating, and then they've now got electrical and anything like gas, so the gas safe. They've got all the accreditations that you need now, and as well as that, they've just started to do heat pumps. So that's a whole new market, which I think is, especially for me, I love when you can get a marketing campaign is something that is a heavily saturated market.
Yes.
Because if you scroll on Facebook, if you're on any social media, there's always heat pump grants available, and you get loads of really in-your-face marketing. So actually, I think people really have become desensitized to the heat pump marketing. Whereas actually, I'm finding that if you do this sort of personalized approach, or actually getting stories of what's happened and how good they are, that's becoming a lot better for us. We're getting more reactions with that one. And the main one for us is Chris, who runs the company, he got a heat pump in his own house. Yeah. So a lot of the time, if a customer has something installed or we've done work for a company, you can't then go, how's it going? Everything okay? Yeah. Whereas because it's Chris's actual house, can you just get a photo of that when you go home tonight? Yeah. Oh, how's it going? And just you can bug him for every question. And I think it's been pivotal in some of the marketing we're doing for that now.
I think, in any situation where you've got a product that goes out to launch, that having any kind of experience in it is ideal, rather than just relying on the sheet that comes with the product that tells you the features and benefits and all that kind of thing. Actually, having some real world experience. You mentioned about on the pre-roll about how you would kind of set it to sort of almost like standby mode when you go on holiday, and having that kind of typical experience. Like if you've got normal radiators and stuff, you always kind of put the radiators down to don't freeze mode or whatever. And it's nice to kind of have specific pieces of experience so you can kind of obviously get that feedback and then relay that in some kind of marketing and almost take more of a personal approach to some extent.
That's it, because I know client testimonials are great, but you can't repeatedly bug clients for it, and you get customers are going to be busy, clients you can't, how's it going? You end up bugging him, I don't want to push him away. Whereas because it's it's his company, we can keep bugging him, and it was exactly that. And it's also the little thing. He came back off holiday when we were going through it, because it tells you how much it's cost per day, and then obviously when you turn it back on, it tells you the cost of that, and it was in essence 3 times. It was about 3 times a normal day's usage. Okay. So actually, if you got it turned off when it didn't really use anything, we realised that if you're away for 3 days, turn it off. If you're away for just 1 night or 2 nights, just leave it running. Yeah. Just leave it running, because they're so efficient. You're not using anything anyway. And it's probably quite similar with traditional combi boilers and normal boilers. And there's a whole campaign that I want to do on that, because people won't be thinking of it. People say, oh, right, I'm going on holiday now, or I'm going away tonight. I'm staying in Manchester. I'm staying in Birmingham tonight. Right, turn the boiler off. Right, we're going now. Everything done. All the plugs off, and then you go out. Yeah. Actually, that's not the most cost effective route. No. Leave it running. Yeah. And it's these little hidden gems that I love finding out, because then you go, right, we can use that. That's marketable. Let's push that out there.
It almost kind of positions you as a trusted, almost partner. And it's you're not just hey, get our heat pump and have it installed by us because it's great. It's did you know this? It's kind of giving them a little bit, giving them a bit of information that is useful. And they go, oh, these guys, they've got my back. Yeah.
Well, I know we were saying earlier on, before we started on the B-roll, about sort of apprenticeships, and with the apprentice that's working there, quite often if there's a big job going on, he can get hands on help. But if it's just a quick job, go in, do that, he'll just be standing around waiting and just picking up as much as he can. I said, well, actually, I want to know what you're picking up, the key elements. And there was one thing that was said the other day. It was when you're installing, say, a stopcock. When you install it, you tighten it up all the way, and then you just turn it back half a turn. Okay. Which, if you're in the industry, that's standard. Everyone does it. But to us, I'd never think of doing that. I'd tighten up as tight as I can. Happy days.
But is that to stop it like seizing or something?
Stop it seizing. But it's something that just comes natural to them. You're probably never going to be taught that.
No.
But when you're in the industry and you're doing it, you're on the tools. I said, it's the hidden gems that I love. They're the most, for me, they're the most marketable elements. Stuff that is natural to you. I always do that. Or something that you think, I always do that. And everyone else would find it boring.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not boring. That's the things that you go, wow, I love that. I want to get that out there. It could be the best piece of equipment going. There's going to be adverts out there for it. There'll be promotional products for it. But the little hidden gems, that's what I love, and I think works really well and resonates with customers.
I think it's that element of like, it's weird. It's like advice, like from like when I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's almost more personal.
Yeah.
And if you're positioning yourself as like almost like a personable, relatable company that cares, perhaps one that's local, perhaps one that's family run, it's perfect in that scenario.
I think that works well. So the ethos with Ignite is for the emergency call outs, it's a 1.5 hour call out from their head office, which is Hanley and Joining Square. So actually, you are getting that personal service. You will get to know who's coming out to you. It's going to be someone who's worked in the company. They know what they're doing. It can be Chris himself coming out. And if you've got an issue with a boiler, your heating's gone, you've not got water, you want someone coming quickly.
Yeah.
You'll find a lot of, say, the big blue chip companies out there use a national service. There was a company recently that they were it's a financial decision they'd made to go with this other to go with the national facilities maintenance company. And I think that they'd chosen it for purely financial reasoning because they were probably cheaper. But their call out time, they've been waiting 2 months for get their heating sorted. And they're in the car industry. And I'm thinking, how has that been marketed to them?
Yeah.
Because the heaters weren't working, so the paint wasn't drying.
Yeah.
And without saying names or any companies, you think they've been waiting for that long. So actually their production times would have been going downhill rapidly. Yeah. Whereas when the guys came out, fixed it, there you go. And you think, well, why aren't more companies researching into it? They just stick with whoever they've been using. Oh, we always use these guys. We'll stick with them.
Yeah.
Why? And I think it's we were talking about the other day and sort of saying, your insurance, if you stay with your insurer year after year, it's not normally on your terms.
No.
Whereas actually people shop around. With facilities management, with your trades, people don't seem to shop around. Once you've got someone, you use them. So why not shop around? Yeah. And I think there's definitely a marketable campaign on that we're going to be exploring.
Take us back to the facilities management then. So like, can you talk us through that as a business model in general, just for people who aren't like perhaps familiar with that? So you've got multiple trades in under one roof going out and doing servicing, maintenance and stuff like that.
Yeah, servicing, maintenance, installation. So, you're going back to your core trades, your plumbing, electricians, gas. So if it's heating, if it's water, if it's electrical, it's covered. That's facilities management. And you'll generally find in big businesses, there's sort of one person who's in charge of that. Especially with Ignite, you're going to have, so it's the strapline, one call, one solution. So actually, if you've got an issue, ring up, it'll be sorted.
Wicked.
And if it isn't something that say it was a window repair, there's someone that we know. So it's one call, one solution for whatever you need and you can be helped with. And it helps that, so actually shopping around, you can be using us, we'll be able to tell you who we can use and who to, because if there is a company that's going to be, somewhere up north, We've helped a lot of companies all over, but you wouldn't want, if you need a quick repair, you're going to be wanting someone who can come and help you quickly. So it's sort of the ethos, and it is the family atmosphere because it's family company, family run, and I think you get that ethos from within, and which I think makes it more fun to market. Yeah, like going to exhibitions, you get to know. You go, this is the boss, and it's the family. There you go. It just makes it, I think, more personal approach as well.
And especially because facilities management in a local area, it kind of makes sense. So it's got to be like, it's got to be nice to be able to have a market that's within a catchment area as well. Like just from a logistics point of view, it'd being like, anytime you're doing any like sort of digital stuff, any paid activation, it's like, oh, I can stick to this area here.
Yeah,
keep the budget tight.
And with it being Stoke as well, things like you're going to be looking at pottery industry.
Mm-hmm.
If a kiln goes down,
yeah,
well then they stop production. They just sit around there getting annoyed.
Yeah.
So actually, we'll go out there and get it fixed immediately. And it's knowing the pains of that. There might be a pottery company somewhere else, but Stoke, we're predominantly known for that. So that's one of the industries that you want to be getting into, because it's just, it's a great industry to market to, but also we know it because it's the Stoke one. It's the catchment area.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's good fun.
And B2B as well. So your marketing material and your sales is going straight to another business, right? You don't do any like residential stuff and things like that?
Heat pumps.
Okay.
We'll do heat pumps for residential, like the domestic side of it, and boiler installs.
Okay.
But then a lot of it you do find, especially like seeing the shopping around, if it's someone who's got a really small job, they probably don't want to use a facilities management company. No. We are primarily aimed at businesses.
Yeah.
It's mostly B2B. The B2C side of things is when it comes to heat pumps and boiler installs. But yeah, mainly B2B. You want to be getting into those businesses that you can help out, and they need the help. Yes. And especially when, if a lot of companies say, you've got an electrical issue and then you have a plumbing issue at the same time, well, that's two companies, right? So, and then the facilities manager within the company is trying to ring one guy and relate with the other and get them come in. Don't need to do that. Just ring us and we'll be able to sort both of them out at the same time. And I think it's working really well.
It's the agency model, essentially, isn't it? It's
yeah.
Just, we although more and more agencies are becoming specialists now, as we are.
Well, I know you hate the full service agency.
The longer that we're a non-full service agency, the more I keep adding stuff. So I kind of understand. There's like I've never. There's an element of like the full service agency. So I'll get off my sort of like. What's it? I didn't have a lot of sleep last night. What's the soapbox? Is it that of full service agencies? Full service agencies are great. And I think they definitely have their place, and some of them will do everything amazingly well.
Yeah.
But I think the more services that you bring on, the less specialist you can be, the less resource you can put into that. So if you've got let's say web design as part of your service offering, but you don't do a lot of websites. So you've got one guy, one girl doing websites, and then a company comes to you. They go, "Hey, we don't want all of this stuff." And you're really good at social media marketing, you're really good at content, and you do websites, but you've only got one person and they're kind of limited on resource. And the client wants that. You're probably not the best fit to go and do that website compared to an agency that specializes in websites.
That's you'll find. I think you do find as well when you've got that, there'll probably be one person there that's amazing with WordPress. And then you get a company coming and saying, I want this, that, I want to integrate it, I want our e-commerce in the back end. Well, that's probably a bespoke build then. And then that's going from WordPress to a complete coded bespoke website for you.
Yes.
Totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
Totally different ballgame. And I get that completely.
So there's an element of that, but I do think full service agencies are, they're still valuable, but there's certain elements where if you have a situation where, look, I just need everything looking after and not one specific thing of these needs to have like serious priority over others, full service agency is great. But if you go to a full service agency for social media marketing, and that's all you need, that's probably a bad idea, I would say. Because
you're going to an agency that doesn't just specialise in that. Because I think coming from the agency world, I always find it like with facilities management, because people go, oh, so they do plumbing and electrical. Well, yeah, but the amount of accreditations that you have to have, whereas in a full service agency, you don't really have to be accredited. Anyone can start doing social, really. They can just start to do it. When you're in the actual industry for trades, the accreditations run really.
Oh, yeah. And it changes every year.
It's not just that. The amount of training they have to do. Because we're going, where's like one of the lads that'll be on a training course? Oh, he's on another training course. And it's just, and I think it's unreal how accredited they have to be. For the health and safety side of things, and comparing that to like a full service, full digital marketing agency, anyone can start that up.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I could get a Squarespace website up and running pretty quickly, I reckon.
You could download a free, WordPress template, you just edit it and tweak it. Because I think you've got the eye for design as well.
Mm-hmm.
And with a team, you could get it started. But if someone said, "I want a full bespoke, build website,"
I need 50 grand's worth of website.
That's a big job. That.
Yeah.
And I think it's the two worlds are so similar but so different because you don't have to be accredited to be in an agency world.
Well, a lot of the time as well, with the agencies that kind of get most agencies don't have production in-house, and if they do, they're usually pretty shocking. And I don't mind saying that. Full service agencies, there's production agencies that are doing incredible work. But most of the time, a videographer, a photographer, a graphic designer, maybe not a graphic designer, but those kinds of the content side of media, they're way too expensive to just have sitting around. Yeah. And if you're not literally dishing out work to them constantly, they're not going to be making their money's worth. So a lot of the time they won't have them in-house. So we get contacted by other agencies fairly regularly to quote on shoots, and we usually lose out on price because agencies looking at other agencies, they might have told the client roughly what it's going to be, but they've kind of based that on one guy with a gimbal's worth of production as opposed to a full production. But then when I keep in touch, I'm like, it's fine. Cool. That's how the world works. And then I see the actual film that whoever's done it, and I'm like, fucking hell. I'm like, no one took this film seriously. And I'm like, this might have been part of a huge campaign where the design's amazing, the website's great, the PR's amazing, the film's toss. Yeah. And I'm like, how has no one put any priority on this film? And it's because they've hired it out to a freelancer that's done it for $1,000 or £800 or however much, and because neither the agency or the client took it seriously. I don't know where I'm going with this rant. Give us some money, basically. Give us all the productions, just the big ones, though.
Yeah. I suppose it's also the care, and because the industry. Things like if someone isn't within the construction trades industry, they wouldn't know. So if I'm doing a shoot or I'm doing anything like that, I'll know that, right, that's a walkway. You can't have a cable on that. Mm-hmm. Health and safety is paramount. Yeah. And if you're doing a shoot, you want to make sure that, obviously everyone always is, but someone could take a photograph of the guy's not actually on the tools and then use that. And it looks like they could be on the tools and they're not wearing the PPE. They're not wearing the safety gear. Oh, God. It's a huge thing, isn't it?
PPE is massive, man. Anytime we're on site, the thing that either any of because there's usually about 2 or 3 parties involved. Mm-hmm. So if we're going to a building site, we've got the guys have got one in London next week with one of our clients. And so they're on a big building site for, I think it's a care home, central London, beautiful place. Our client's supplying some of the arch brick support, lintels and stuff like that. So we're going in, shooting all that kind of stuff. Got a videographer and a photographer, and I can already tell. I'm getting seasoned into all the emails. So you got the client, you got the brickwork contractor, and you got the main contractor. And sometimes there's even another tier 1 contractor or a housing builder or whatever in there, and all of them are concerned about what's going to be in the film and if they're going to get screwed, because they're just so concerned about all of the dangerous shit that happens on a building site. That health and safety, they can try their best, but they can't police everybody. No. And some of these builders are animals. Let's be honest. And we're all the same. This is what I'm doing now with my PPE is silly. It's not actually that valuable. You can have those kinds of thoughts, and as soon as the health and safety person isn't looking, you're not going to be wearing the gloves because they get in your way. You want to get your job done. But in the film, the construction industry is so savage when it comes to PPE.
I think it's that as well, because we know it. You've then got to go in and go, you need to put your gloves on. Yeah, you've got to, they're going to go in. Oh, fine. Yeah. But you've got to just force them to do it. And then if they're not actually on the tools or not in the shot, make sure they're not in any video way. Yeah, get rid. And if you've got someone there who's just come in, they normally, they could normally do beautiful landscape videography. Yeah. They've come into construction. The shots are amazing. The cinematography side of it is wow. You can't use that.
No.
Oh no, you can't use that. And then we know that the client will go, Can't use that. Can't use that. Can't use that.
It's heartbreaking when you get those films back and they go nope, because and they're literally, they haven't even looked at the creativity. They're just going PPE. It's not right. I remember I was on a shoot again in central London, and any videographers and photographers that work in central London will realise how much of a fucking pain it is to go and do that kind of stuff.
Well.
Like just not being able to park is expensive. Anyway, and there was a guy there on site, and he was like, just because I'm not going to be wearing gloves, whatever happens, I'm not wearing gloves. I never wear gloves. I'm like, cool, do me a favour, don't get in any shots. And he was like, and turns out he's the main fucking guy. Oh, no. He's there, he's in every shot going, yeah, do this. And I'm like, no, I could have really done with you not being like the manager of these guys. So we kept rolling on him, and it wasn't our client. It was, again, one of the steps down. They were like, yeah, you can't use any footage with him in. I'm like, you could have told him not to turn up that day.
Yeah.
If you know he's going to be such a nightmare, because we were like, everyone's got to wear PPE, and he was the only guy that was just like, respectfully, no. We were like, cool, he was nice about it. But he just happened to be like the most animated, cool looking guy that seemed to be telling everybody what to do.
I'm lucky that I've never come up against that. I've been on some like big shoots with multiple guys, and they always seem to understand when you say, if I get your photo and it ends up on social media and you're not wearing the PPE, what you're going to get, all the people will start commenting and having a go at you, and that means a great marketing campaign will flop. It's like you're going to get publicity, but it's bad publicity. Yeah. And I think that's when it starts focusing and go, oh, if he's not wearing the correct PPE, and everyone then will just focus on that. It doesn't matter, you've just done the best brickwork ever. You just put the best piping install to a boiler. It looks unreal. Yeah. The copper display of
copper
art.
porn.
Oh, it's just like, oh, I love that. No one cares because he wasn't wearing, he hadn't got his safety glasses on.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they'll pick up on that. And I have always found that the guys on site, if I hardcore explain to them that, they have been quite happy to go, all right then. And I'm like, and if anyone asks you, you always wear it. Yeah, of course. Yeah. But yeah, if someone doesn't know that, they won't be looking through it. And you know what? Blue roll. I don't know about you. Blue roll ends up in shots.
Yeah.
Just move the blue roll, because it doesn't look. We all know it's used. Everyone knows it. Every trade will have blue roll or some foot, because I know big wipes.
Big wipes, yeah.
They are used, but unless it's like a promotional shot, blue roll it always looks a bit messy. You want to be moving it out the way. It's not in a nice sleek box like big wipes. You want to be moving it out the way. Yeah. And if someone coming in just getting like that cinematic, moving shot, they don't want to think about that.
There's a scratchy sort of half-soaked roll of blue roll.
Yeah, or just a dirty rag.
Yeah.
We all know they're used. Like, you can't do a job without using rags. But you just don't want them in the shots. Even in B-roll shots, you don't want it in there. You want it at least looking professional, sleek, and nice and clean.
The thing that I've always found about the construction industry is it's actually quite catty when it comes to like people getting on social media and being keyboard warriors. I think it's one of the worst industries that I've ever worked in for just pointing out stuff that's got no relevance to them at all. They're just, it's if they see something, go, oh yeah, I wouldn't be doing that. You should be doing this kind of thing, and is that bloke's being dead dangerous or whatever. I'm like. Like even if I saw like something in my industry of someone doing a shit job, I wouldn't think to just go on socials and go to a brand and go, that's shit, that is. Like, you wouldn't be able to do that. And he's like breaking the rules or being unsafe. And for some reason in construction, especially these men, just kind of get riled up by all the health and safety stuff. And I just think it's bizarre, because most of the time when you see this, it doesn't happen to us a great deal, but I'm aware of it. Even in marketing material, as in like, it's obviously fake. Yep. It's a fake photo shoot. This is practically fashion with a tool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that should be wearing PPE. I'm like, he's in a fucking studio.
He's definitely not on site. He's in a production studio, which is super safe anyway. Yeah. And he's just showing the tool off.
It's not even plugged in, mate.
you can see the plugs just hanging over.
Yeah, and it's like, so we have to do this, It's one of those things, we were shooting with Werner Ladders, great client, great ladders, by the way. And it's one of those sort of situations where you get everything set up right, and then we're like, the models kind of doing their thing. And usually this is an actual builder.
Yeah.
And they were like, right, okay, we've got to put a load of PPE on it now. And I'm like, damn, this guy wrecks all our lighting, all the high vis stuff's reflecting like crazy. We've got all like safety glasses. The work boots are an obvious thing, but even like the gloves, I'm like, damn, I could have really done without that. I get it.
Especially with the reflective side of things. You've just set all your lighting up.
Yeah.
And then you go, yeah, we're now going to have loads of reflection.
Yeah.
Okay, let's rethink about this. But if you don't, you start getting hate. And it does seem like you could have the best marketing campaign out there. You've just something, it's a gold mine, something that people aren't talking about. It's the hidden gem within the industry that once you get it out there, people go, oh yeah, great.
Yeah.
But if there's not a bit of PPE, people will pick up on it.
Yeah.
And they just go mad. And I don't understand. It seems like an industry where you think it wouldn't happen. But yeah, they really do call you out.
A lot of middle-aged sort of hard-working blokes getting on their keyboards and go, "Oh, I should be wearing PPE."
Where's this come from?
I don't know. I think do you know what I think it is? I think it's because for some reason there's been this kind of thing about construction being so competitive.
Yeah,
it's a really, really competitive industry, and there's a lot of hate between brands. There's a lot of like secrets, and there's almost like a bit of bitchiness around like, oh, you can't, I've sometimes felt weird commenting on a post that's like a rival of one of our clients, even though in any other circumstance, like I can speak to my direct competitors and be very friendly with them because we're friends most of the time. It's nice. I mean, the creative industry is a nice industry to be in. Even though it is still incredibly competitive, but it's in a good way, whereas I think construction's like competitive in a bad way a lot of the times. It's like there's a lot of hate.
The creative industry, I would say, and I think we're always happy. Like if I have a phone call from someone who I know is doing work with someone I've worked with, and they're like, oh, I don't want to pick your brains. And I think with creatives, we do love to just spout what we're thinking and go, right, this is what I got an idea on. And they go, all right, so I've got, I want to do a marketing campaign, and it can be on something completely different to the industry you're working in, but it can work. When I was at an agency, when I was doing agency work, I can always remember I did a campaign that worked really well for a butcher's and a solicitor's, which was a direct mail campaign that worked with, it was omni-channel, so it also went with social, and they both worked really well. And it was very similar. I'm thinking, but you'd never get that. No. If it was just in-house, they would never have the same things working.
No.
And if someone rings me and said, and I've done the same, I've rang other people up and said, I've got an idea about this.
Yeah.
What do you think? And it's just that sort of having that backup.
Yeah.
And just having someone to run ideas with. Whereas in the construction industry,
yeah, you can imagine like the CEO of DeWalt ringing up the CEO of Bosch and being like, any advice? Like, what's working for you at the moment? It's mad, but like creatives and marketers will just do that, and it's because I think there's a lot of ways to skin a cat when it comes to marketing. Whereas I think a lot of construction is just like our thing is better than the competitor, and that's like for a lot of for up until recently, when they've started getting clever marketers in, that's been their only differentiation is we need to make our thing look better than the other thing.
Yeah.
And I think they're only just, this is why this podcast exists, there's more clever, more creative marketers coming into the industry and educating, the C-suite or whatever execs. Is C-suite the right term?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
C-suite.
goodness.
Because we quite often, with us, the C-suite are they're the top level. For facilities management, you want to be getting below that.
Yeah.
Because they've put someone in charge of facilities management. So that's who you want to get to. So you're above the gatekeeper, but you're not C-suite level. You want to be, it's that mid-level, which it's a hard market because they're the ones that actually are normally quite busy. So that you can't get to them. C-suite level, there's normally a route in.
Yeah.
And then if you're aiming for the gatekeepers to do a campaign for them, you want to be sending all them some nice gifts. That's quite getting to that mid-tier range that they might not have an email address. They're
they're not on LinkedIn.
They're not on LinkedIn. They haven't got a direct phone number. But if anyone in the C-suite wants them, they've got the mobile number. Just give them a call. They're the ones that we're getting in. So we're marketing to them, and it's fun to market to because it's a challenge. I think that makes it more fun. And actually, going back to what we've just been saying, I've spoke to other people, and so one of my mates who works, he works for sort of garden centres. he never has this issue because he knows who he's aiming to, and it's primarily B2C. So I'm like, I've got a campaign. This is what I want to be doing, and we can just go to the pub and chat.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't get that within the construction industry, really, because they go, oh, that guy's from Milwaukee, and I'm not talking.
Yeah.
We'll go sit over there, and they can sit there. And it's weird because actually there's probably things they could work together on. There's always areas that someone's better than the others.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? When you go to these, like I'm going to an exhibition this week, and it's literally like agencies, the only people that can just go DeWalt, Milwaukee, fucking Makita, Ryobi, whoever. I'm just like going between all. I'm just like, do you want to give us some money? Do you want to give us some money? Like content. Like we'll work with anybody.
I think it's our like print. And print, obviously, I know you've just had your new tops, but
which look great, by the way, don't they?
It just looks a bit weird when you keep rubbing your chest.
Check the back, Craig. Look at that. You know what I mean? It's a nice piece, that is, isn't it?
I'd be more impressed if you rubbed your back like you just rubbed your chest. Yeah. Just some ambidextrousness going on there.
We thought about putting in some like Easter eggs, like on the sleeve or something, but we just went classic front and back. Anyway, sorry, Craig.
No, with printers though, there's people you'll use for, say, business cards. There's people you use for promotional merchandise. And even with promotional merchandise, you get a mug done by one person, but they might not be very good at doing, and especially within, it's like promotional tape measures.
Yep.
Everything is different. So there's but they're all in the same industry. And they are quite similar. They won't speak to each other like construction. I have found that before. And you think, but you could always refer to them and they can refer to you. There's definitely work to be done there, but everyone stops.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. I think it's always been that thing of like it's very price driven and it's very much what's better, or that's what the perception has been. But actually, I think the higher ups in the C-suites and the sales directors are being better educated by the marketers to be like, no, actually there is brand loyalty and there's more clever stuff. There's positioning. It's not necessarily about whether your product or service is the cheapest and the best. Yep. It's actually just like there's a lot more factors that are involved, and that makes the process of marketing it a lot more interesting, a lot more nuanced. Because you can have, notoriously, like we get stuff, we buy stuff all the time that we know isn't as good as a competitor, but we prefer it because we like the brand.
Yeah.
And that's, cool. It's like it makes our job a little bit more fun because we can be like, okay, we know our product isn't anywhere near as good as our competitors, and we also know that it's actually a little bit more expensive. So let's do some creative stuff to work around that, because now we know it's not just built on price. Some of it is obviously.
It's similar-ish to in like the facilities industry. It's the educational piece that can help because people will only normally call you out when something's broken.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's broken now, so I need someone to come out. When actually, if the educational piece that we're marketing is that it's preventative maintenance.
Yes.
So it's regular maintenance. So, you will be... So, say you're paying, £50 a year for maintenance on something, or 100, 200, whatever, you're paying that. But if that thing breaks down, one, you've got the company shut down.
Yep.
And then two, you've got then the extra fee of it coming out and being... Because if it's broken, then you'll come out, inspect it, find out what's broken with it. And when it's broken, you then got to get the parts. And then still you go a bit, and then you get the parts, and then you got to fix it. If it's being regularly maintained, you'll find out that actually, if something is, you go, right, that isn't got long left. It'll probably last this long, but we'll get the part in ready for it.
Yeah.
Or shall we just do it now? And then you let the client decide. I always let the client decide. But... It's that sort of regular maintenance that people don't want to pay for. But then when you're educating them, but think it's because people won't think about the production cost of like when the company stops.
Yeah.
All they'll be thinking about is, I'm not paying that much money.
They think about their monthly billings.
Yeah, it's all especially like the blue chip ones. It's just financial side of things. Well, actually, if you think about the financial side of things, of once we fixed, once you've got to fix it and your production stops, the costs are a lot higher than just paying that regular fee to get the guy to come out. And then actually the regular fee includes someone coming out checking it. So if it's checked, then we'll know what's wrong with it and you'll get a report on actually, this is fine. And that person then will also know your bit of kit.
Yeah.
And that's all, as with Knight finding the say someone like Churchill's, they know the kit that's in there. And if something is going to go wrong, they'll have been told. And if something, that you get the one-offs that, how's that happened?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it could be this, it could be that. Right, we'll come in, have the parts ready, know what they need to order, and it's done then. So you're not having that downtime. And it's that educational piece, like you were saying, it's educating people about that. And I think that's where sort of our jobs as marketing, you've got to educate people about things that they probably don't care about, but should care about.
Yes. And it's not just the obvious stuff like it's, we've got this special offer on, or we're great at doing this. You know what I mean? It's the little things that can make a huge difference. In terms of facilities management then, like we love marketing less sexy stuff.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to facilities management, it doesn't get much less sexy than that as an idea, as a concept. It's maintenance, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like that's a great challenge, because I'm like, okay, it's a maintenance contract. If you took it back to its bare bones, how do you market that? And it's like, oh no, I've got some special ideas for this. But on that thought though, like, what have you found since working in that industry has been the biggest challenge in general? For let's say, so we can relate to the other facilities management marketers on the podcast.
It will be probably people stuck. People stuck with the one person. So there's a company out there and they'll go, right, well, we've always used someone who's the electrician, someone who's the plumber, and someone who does the heating. Yeah, we've always used them. You have an issue, you ring them, oh, we're busy, you can't come out straight away. And it could be a one-man band because it could be a lot cheaper. But then they've always used them, and they're slightly more willing to wait. So the C-suite level will be going, right, we need it fixed. Come down, and they go, right, so it's coming to get fixed next week. Yeah. It might not happen next week, it just gets pushed on, but it kind of still works in a way for them. Yeah. Whereas actually, once you get in there and you go, right, well, we can come out and get it fixed, and it's, again, educating them with, actually, you're using that, it's the detrimental effect of continuing to use what you've been doing. Yeah. Looking at sort of like the insurance side of thing, if you're stuck with a car insurer and you keep using them, it ends up being a bit detrimental to you in the long run. Yeah. And everyone shops around. Why don't people shop around for facilities management? Why don't people shop around and go, well, who should I be using? There's always that worry of, oh, well, who am I going to use? And that's, are they going to be any good? Which is why I want to be putting the testimonials out there and getting the videography content that shows how good they are. Yes. But then anyone can do that. It's once you're getting in front of them, getting your people out there, and I think facilities management, especially facilities marketing out there, it's the same issues you have. It's just getting yourself in them, because people have been using the same company for so many years and they stick with them. Yeah. And they just get stuck in that sort of like, well, we've always done it this way.
It's one of those tricky sort of situations, isn't it? It's like, we're going to take this back to really nerdy stuff now when it comes to creativity, but we were speaking about switching over to DaVinci Resolve from Premiere Pro for the videography nodes. No, because I'm just like it's almost like the cost of trying to learn a new piece of software. There's a special name for those kinds of the video software, isn't it? I've completely forgot what it's called now. It's a 3-letter acronym, so you've been using Premiere Pro for ages, and you're thinking DaVinci Resolve technically like works a lot better, runs a lot better, and the color gradient's better. I'm like, cool, but the faff of changing like it is enough to stop you, even though you can technically perform better if you do make that decision. It's the effort of making that decision, and so that as marketers, it's kind of a very similar thing for you guys. Yeah. You're trying to get these guys to switch provider. Which is effort and risk, but actually the rewards can be absolutely massive for them.
But Adobe are the behemoth. And I know we're going, but Adobe are the behemoth that own it, don't they? Mm-hmm. And I always say this, and if Adobe's listening, don't. If they just put their prices up massively and went, right, we're going to charge you 5 times as much, we just kind of go, oh, right, okay. I don't know what to do. I'd be panicking over that because Adobe have just got the market covered. There's so many other, there's so much of the software out there, but the Adobe one does work well with each other. Yeah. You can go from Premiere Pro to After Effects, and then you can import stuff from Illustrator. It just works well. Whereas actually, if you then go to DaVinci, it is it's not completely different setup, but it's just slightly different.
It's only mildly different, but for a team of there's 6 of us, but really there's only 4 that would ever use Premiere Pro. Or DaVinci Resolve. that's a one-time cost. So DaVinci Resolve is a one-time cost. You are not paying a monthly subscription. No. I think I can't remember what our Adobe bill is, but it's probably around £300-400 a month, something like that. It's a lot of money for our team, for a small business. So you could take a chunk out of that for just to get switched to DaVinci Resolve, and I'm still like, nah, can't be bothered.
But you can't, because if you're still going to be using Illustrator and Photoshop to edit, stills, and you want to be creating thumbnails. How then do you do that if you spent all your money on DaVinci and you go, I'm stop using Adobe? You've then got to find other software.
Yeah.
And it's the same, the hidden gems. You'll be used to keyboard shortcuts. So we don't have to do that. Like, what have you just done that? Oh, I'll just command it. You know your shortcuts. If you then swap to a different piece of software, your shortcuts have changed.
Yes.
Like, right, what do I do for that? Then you've got to learn it. Is that time taken to learn it going to be worth it? It's really hard to, really you've got to put it all together.
But I imagine it's essentially the same problem that the facilities management companies have of just like, well, we've always used this guy or this company. It's probably costing us at the moment more than if we went with you guys. But the faff of it kind of puts me off. And so it's the same marketing problem. And if you think about the way that DaVinci have got around this solution is they've used ambassadors and influencers. So I never get a piece of content that comes directly from DaVinci to say, hey, you should use our software. I see influencers switching and making a lot of content around switching. And I'm like, oh, okay, I trust this person's opinion. Let's have a little look at this. And we do a lot in influencer marketing, so we kind of understand the value of someone's opinion that's trusted in the industry. And you sort of think, well, okay, that's interesting. How do we then switch that on to, let's say if we were in this, having this discussion properly, so we can market it, we can put some great stuff out there. We need to make sure that DaVinci is, let's say in this instance, a facilities management company is turning up in the right places and looking right. Yeah. You know what I mean? But actually, you can have these kind of like little other strategies of, that's essentially a testimonial, a case study, maybe someone else in the industry that's, quite well respected. You can start to kind of get those messages out there because, the influencers on LinkedIn are essentially the sales directors, CEOs and stuff because they've got a lot of reach and they've got a lot of friends.
Yeah, because that's it. There's not going to be an influencer on TikTok who's a facilities manager in a company. No, that's it's not. Yeah, that's
you have to scale these things down, but it still works because you only need what, like 20. If you do like 20 new big contracts, that's a life-changing amount of money for a business, right?
And as well, I think a lot of people will go for influencers and go for the huge ones. There's the micro influencers that you can work with, but also you can find influencers that are, say, they're doing something. It could be like the paint and decorate, or the because I know that there's a plasterer, and he's got a massive following. Actually, he's on a job doing it, but then he can be talking with Ignite and talking about what they're doing. It's trying to find that partnership, and that can work really well. But we have found that testimonials. If someone going, well, I know you might be thinking it's a risk, but it will save. Here's the proof. And it's just proving. Yeah,
it worked for us. It worked for my business, and I'm the CEO of a really well-respected company, or I'm the managing director, whatever. And they've got a load of mates who are also managing directors and CEOs, and they go, "Oh, fair enough." And it's being able to leverage those kinds of things. It's like I'm running some ads at the moment on Instagram and LinkedIn.
Yeah,
just playing, really, just having some fun. And I think I've given myself like 700 quid's worth of budget just to play for the next, couple of weeks. And the cost per click was ridiculous. I think so. I don't know. Let's say on one of my ads. Let's see if I can get the stats up. So I had one ad. Turn my phone back to normal.
This is where it gets funny if anyone's just listening to this episode.
Oh yeah,
you've now got to really describe what's on your screen.
I didn't. I need to. There we go. Add it. So you go to Instagram, add insights. Okay, and then it buffers for ages. So I've got. Let's say I got on this particular. So basically the same scenario. I'm going to turn my phone off. I basically ran the same ad on LinkedIn and on Instagram just to test them, even though I knew Instagram was actually a really bad platform for this.
That is some interesting A/B testing, though. I like that.
It's not great. So like reach was 28,000 people. It had 88 interactions.
This is a B2C client then?
This is literally just our. It was our. What do you call it? Showreel. I just threw it through.
For you guys.
For
your
us.
own
Yeah.
marketing.
Oh yeah. Oh, Jesus, I wouldn't mess around with our clients' budgets like this.
No, I didn't know if you got like a client in mind that they give you that amazing, because you do get that. You get that client that says, right, I know you trust what we're doing.
Yeah.
I've had it in the past where I said, right, you're going to an exhibition, you need a brochure doing. I've got the reasoning behind it. This is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And they go, yeah, right. I'm like, no, have a look and make sure you agree. No, that's exactly what we need.
Yeah.
And that level of trust, once you get that is when you know that you've proved your worth, and then you can go and obviously, like doing what you're doing, you do it for yourself first, don't you? Then you make sure you proved it, and then you go, right, this one could be a bit risky, but it's going to pay off. It will pay off here.
Yeah.
But we're going to try that bit as well. Let's put a little bit of pot of money to that side, for your Instagram there. But LinkedIn is where it's at. And then sometimes it randomly happens where you go, Instagram's really kicked off. I don't know
why.
I don't know why. I'm going to have to spend some time on my own researching into what's changed here. It could be an algorithm change, which is every day, I think, for some reason at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, so this gives you like an idea. So I had 152 interactions with this ad, which cost me 25p an interaction. So that's not too bad. But that's kind of untargeted. It's kind of targeted to the right people, but I couldn't be that granular.
Yeah.
And there is a point to this. Is that kind of like the idea of this? The influencers of your industry don't need to necessarily be influencers. They just need to be the right kinds of people in the right places. So there's 25p per interaction, 152 interactions. I've been running a LinkedIn ad, and I've had 11 interactions so far, and they've cost me a tenner a piece.
Yeah.
So I've had 11 people interact with my ad properly. Lots of people have seen it, but only 11 people have actually interacted.
Interactions.
I've had 0 leads, and it's cost me £110 to get those 11 people to click on my ad.
Have you had leads on Instagram?
Yeah. But they're going through to a landing page.
Okay.
But no one's actually interacted properly with they've not taken it to the next step, which is fine because it's just a test.
Yeah.
But it shows the difference of if I got one lead on there, it's so targeted, that particular ad on LinkedIn, for it to cost £10 per click.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
I've gone so granular on that. That I'm only interacting with who could potentially be my target clients, as opposed to Instagram, which had 152 interactions as opposed to 11, but they're just randomers.
Yeah.
They're kind of in the right industry, but maybe not really. And this is the thing with marketing B2B is the numbers are less, but the people the sort of demographics and the targeting is super specific. So your marketing efforts, can potentially only go out to 12 people. Yeah. But if one of those 12 people, and all those 12 people are perfect avatar for your customer, one of those people actually converts. That's a huge thing for potentially, because it's a year's contract at this massive company.
Yeah,
great.
It's like you've got your ideal customer persona you're going to aim at. There is always the secondary customer persona of the customer persona that knows your ideal customer persona.
Yes.
So like for me, someone who you're marketing at going, right, do you always have an issue with is your heating never working in your office? That person who's watching you going, there is. My office is always freezing. Mm-hmm. They'll know the person who's in charge of the heating.
Absolutely.
And then that's who. So you're marketing through them, aren't you? Mm-hmm. But it's that secondary customer persona that you're indirectly getting your ideal customer persona.
Yeah.
So you can do a bit more of a blanket approach.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's quite interesting as well, because I always assumed that you're kind of it is B2B.
Yeah.
What you do, but a lot of the work that we do is kind of like our clients are operating B2B, but we're marketing as if they're a B2C client, because we're trying to get buy-in from the end user, which in your case is the people in the office that are going, why is it so bloody cold in here? That need to go and speak to their facilities manager to say, can you sort this out? For them to then contact you. So it's actually a very similar kind of thing. You're actually almost technically marketing in those situations to your end user. It's just, again, weirdly, they're still in business. But that gets a little bit confusing, but it's kind of the same thing. So you can, there's always that kind of like the double whammy of marketing to both sides, and that's quite clever. I didn't think that would be the case, but it always comes around to like you end up, you think you're a B2B business, but you end up marketing B2C most of the time.
I think we're going back to it's the creative industry. You end up talking, you go, oh no, actually that's quite similar to what I was doing. Even though completely different industry,
same
completely different idea what you're doing, but it ends up being quite similar.
Yeah. And in those situations, you go, okay, now I've got some great ideas. Yeah. Let's go. This strategy worked for me, and we got loads of leads or whatever.
So we've done quite a bit of a sponsorship for Paul Vale. And on the
luckily there's no Stoke fans in here today, so we're all right.
But there was a big campaign that actually on the Vale scoreboard, either side of it, it said "Ignite with an I."
Okay.
Because the Stokey way of pronouncing ignite doesn't always sound like it starts with an I.
Yeah.
And then the amount of people that would come to you and go, "Oh, ignite with an I."
Yeah.
And actually, it was a great campaign because it wasn't all the services were advertised after, and there was because there's two scoreboards either side, and it then say the services one side, but with ignite with an I, and then there's the Port Vale podcast, and in that someone referenced ignite with an I, and it just kind of gets out there, which then sort of does that earworm effect of knowing I've got an issue with that. What about ignite with an I? And then people start saying it. You think that's quite, and it's great when that works. And that's that secondary demographic that you just sort of, right, if we get in with them and they remember, they see you all the time, then it works. It's not the one where you want to spend your big budget on.
No.
Your big budget's your ideal customer persona, but just getting that outer one. And for us, like sponsorships, it's always knowing who to sponsor, what you're going to get back from it. You've got to do a lot of research. I think at times people will think, marketing, it's just some fancy fluffy stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of research, and you have to do some of that boring data stuff to get a marketing campaign. You go, it's going to work, and this is why it's going to work. Here's all the proof. Here's the research we've done into it. That's taken quite a bit of time to do. And then here's even more time, and it's going to work. But yeah, you've got to do the hard work first.
I think marketing it's all about priorities, isn't it? Yeah. I think one of the worst things you can do is give the owner of a small to medium business, I don't think is the right term, because I think technically small to medium is like anywhere between like 0 and 100,000 people or something. Yeah. It's really broad. But let's say you've got a local installers that have got 15 people on the books or something like that. Worst thing you can do is give that business owner any marketing budget, because they will really poorly, a lot of the time, prioritize that money. I see it all the time. I see these back in the day when we were working with kind of smaller businesses like that. They would be scrimping and saving and kind of, sort of turning down proposals for stuff that they'd asked us to, propose for. And then I'd see them advertising at the local cricket club. And I'm like, how much does that cost you? Surely, if you're doing silly things like that on the regular, and not putting any money into a website, let's say, or social media presence or any kind of communication, or even better, paid ads, then you are going to be failing. And then you would see them a year later. They'd ask you the same questions again, and they'd be like, "Hey, can you give us a quote for this?" And I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, I haven't got enough budget for that." I'm like, maybe stop putting stupid fucking ads in the local rag. You know what I mean?
Well, I think it's that thing where you see someone. So they're doing something for that sake. So the marketing, it's going back to super basics. They've got a brochure for brochure's sake. Why have you got a brochure? Oh, well, my rival company's got a brochure. Yeah, but what are you going out to exhibitions? No. What's actually with your brochure and what you do with it? Oh, well, we've got 5,000 of them in the office. Yeah. They're not getting anywhere. They're not getting your business. No. One of the things we both agree on, you only want to market as long as it's getting you something. You need a return on investment.
Yes.
I could design you the best brochure in the world. If it's going to sit on your shelf or it's a doorstop, that's pointless.
Especially if it's a limited budget. Yeah. If you've got a small, if you've got money to burn, and you kind of look, we've got 70%, 80% of our budget is for priority. Yeah. 20% is for play.
Yeah.
Great. let's have sponsored art projects. Ryan Jones called it from SLG. 20% of our budget's for sponsored art projects. Have some fun.
That's the one way you can be really creative.
Yeah,
you
just do whatever.
You can go all out there and try. That's when you try your Surreal route. Will this work? Will getting Barry Scott work? Will spending a load of money on something it's a risk. If you can find a company who's got that 20% budget for the risky one, they pay off sometimes. But you've still got to have the 80% to make sure this is working, this is working, this is working. Let's take the risk on this. Whereas that risky one is normally where you've had to do a lot of research for it and you've got to make sure it works. And I think, but you can have the most fun with that.
Yeah.
I don't think Surreal would exist if they were doing the safe.
I think I might have found the takeaway from this podcast. We kind of went into this, just thought we'll have a laugh.
We just
have
some fun.
Yeah, we didn't prep for it at all. I think we've found the takeaway is prioritize your marketing activities. Ideally, have a strategy in place first. That's really helpful. But I also appreciate companies who can't afford or that aren't clever enough to create a strategy. There are some best practices that you can do that you sort of think, well, that'll probably work.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, everyone would have a really great marketing strategy and it would be created by someone who's very clever, but I appreciate that it doesn't happen sometimes. Get your priorities right in your marketing, but if you can leave 20% aside of your marketing budget to have some fun.
Yeah.
Just be creative and if it doesn't, understand that if it doesn't work, that it was a great test.
It was a great test that you've got in your arsenal.
Yeah.
Because it could work in the future. But I also think that the 80%, you've got to make sure that it's being used wisely. So actually, if you are doing adverts in the local rag or in a zine somewhere, you've got the research of who is the readership of that? Where's it coming from? Who's going to be reading that? Is it your ideal client, customer persona? Is it the outer reach that'll get into it?
Yeah.
Or is it just people that aren't going to ever use your services?
Yeah.
It's a waste. And then that budget would be better spent on ads.
Exactly.
That'd be way better spent. But a lot of the time people, I find companies that probably won't want to speak because they go, I haven't got a budget for that. This is our budget. So, well, have a chat. Let's see. Because if you're spending, I spend $2,000 a year doing that advertising. But $2,000 on an actual successful, social ad campaign or even PPC will be far more effective and get you your desired outcome than using just, I got offered to do an advert in a paper and it cost me this much, so I've done it.
Yeah,
well,
on a whim.
Where's the strategy behind it? And I think people can have the strategy, but 80% strategic. It's got to be really thought focused. No desired outcome. Spend a bit of time thinking about it. Even if you haven't got a big budget, still spend a bit of time. But if you can have that 20%, have some fun.
Yeah.
But even I'm like ask people within the company how they'd market it.
Yeah.
How do they talk about it down the pub? Who do you work for? What do you do?
Yes.
And then they could say, there could be something that they all describe the company as. That's actually quite a funny one. Like the Ignite with an I thing came from someone discussing it and say, Ignite, with an I.
Yeah.
It's obvious that.
Yeah.
Ignite with an I is obvious, but actually it works successfully well because then it started becoming an E-worm. And also the sponsorship side of things, if you're going to sponsor something, well, could you get someone back from them? So if you're sponsoring something for us that needs facilities management, well, is there a contract there? What are you going to get? And that's always a question that throughout my career, that if I'm sponsoring something or there's some sponsorship available, is there a kickback? Is there something you can get back? It's not just sponsoring for sponsoring's sake, because you'll notice that other people have sponsored them and they've got contracts with them.
Yes.
You quite often find that, because if I see someone sponsor, I'm like, have you got that? I want to ask every question under the sun. It's then when you go, oh, right, that's why you sponsored him.
Yeah.
That's clever.
That
I like that. Makes sense. Because from the outlet, it might not make sense. But then when you start asking questions, you realise that they've got that, or there's a company that's linked with them. That
it's a little golden handshake or whatever. There's some stuff in the background that's led to that point.
Yeah.
There's also some very strategic sponsorships that actually you work incredibly well, like tools for motor trade or whatever. Tools for motorsport.
Yeah.
There's certain things. I had this concept. This would be the 20%er. We had this client. We've got this client. Sorry. And we had this kind of idea for like alternative influencer marketing. We didn't do it in the end because it was silly. But I'd like to do it, where we sponsor events that are completely irrelevant to our target market. construction. So I was looking into show jumping, like having a tool brand like sponsor the show jumping, but also getting influencers that are so comically not tradespeople or DIYers to try and market our product just as like a laugh. The logistics of it were going to be a nightmare, but we were going to have a go. So we're going to go on like an agency, influencer agency website. Go, listen, we've got 10 grand to play with. Give us your most ridiculous, but high number influencers in unrelated fields that can talk about our particular glue or whatever. And they're like beauty influencers or something. Be like, I've also got this new glue. But then like we knew that those campaigns would not be successful. But what we would do is we would like kind of like keep that footage back and actually create our own campaign based on the footage that we get from these influencers that aren't in relatable fields. We didn't do it in the end, but that was a really good example of like the extra 20% of just like, let's just be silly for a bit.
But then, Barry Scott,
Surreal. Yeah.
What? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
And it worked. You could get, if you get a...
I think Sonny D did. Didn't they get Mr. Motivator back or something like that recently? Knowlton agency did all that kind of stuff. Dan and Lloyd Knowlton and all their clever people that work there. I'm pretty sure it was Mr. Motivator or it was something like that. They've done like a series of like sort of 80s and 90s like celebs that you'd have seen on like This Morning or whatever, and they're bringing them back. For these kind of like throwback treats like Sunny Delight, like you sort of think I haven't drank a Sunny Delight since I was a kid, because I think the last time I drank one it made me sick or something like that. I'm sure they've fixed all the chemicals that are in Sunny Delight. They changed all the numbers. Yeah. But I'm like, great, that's amazing. It's not made me buy one yet. It's a bit like Surreal, but I like the marketing. Keep at it.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything that I should have asked you or that you wanted to speak about that you feel like we haven't touched on yet at this stage?
No, I think I'd come into it. I want to have a chat with you, just to it was a catch-up chat and just to cover all the marketing aspects and actually I think the similarities in the industry, because construction is construction and trades, but actually, facilities management is trades. There's a massive correlation between the two, but they're marketed quite differently. Yeah. Because it's completely different people, but it's actually the same people that are using them. The end user is, actually it's the person who's sitting in the office. It's like not customer persona. It's the the secondary users that you can be targeting. Mm-hmm. It's the same. Yeah. But then you'll find that within a lot of different industries that can be so dissimilar.
Well, that's another takeaway then is in this industry of construction, be less competitive, make more friends. The marketers, as a rule, are pretty cool with each other anyway, aren't they? But it's nice to be able to have those kinds of like inroads into other industries that are perhaps what you would class as like complementary trades or businesses that are related to the brand that you work with, and figure out what those guys are doing and share the information and help marketing and construction build. Because again, one of the issues that we found in construction is there's a lot of marketers that are woefully unexperienced, like educated in this particular industry. It's not their fault. They've been hired by somebody who didn't take marketing that serious in the first place. So a lot of the time what happens is when you get into the construction industry is you hire a junior because it was a tick box exercise.
Yeah, cost.
And they were like, right, well, we've got a marketer now. Let's enjoy, go. Yeah. And that marketer is probably fresh out of uni going, I could still do with some support. And they haven't got it. And we find it the same with construction. The same with creativity in a lot of brands is they'll get like an in-house videographer, like almost fresh out of university. They ain't got a clue how to run a production. And some of those productions are really important. And then they get upset because the video production's not that great. I'm like, that's because a junior needs a senior, and the senior needs a creative director, and all these kinds of things. And
it's like what we're talking. It's the stuff that isn't maybe in the forefront. Mm-hmm. So a junior might just focus on the subject, you doing what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Whereas we're all thinking, right, actually, that's the most important, but what's going on in the background is just as important.
Yeah.
Let's make sure there isn't anything going on. PPE. It's learning about what we know what actually is important within the industry. It's what you learn over the years. Whereas if you come straight out, you're a junior, you go, right, so the most important thing is the thing that's at the forefront of the video. Your video in there, that's it. This stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the most important. And I think it's paramount just as much, all of it. You want to be making sure that everything's important, but then also conveying that importance to people. So actually wearing PPE, you might not want to, but it's very important.
Yeah.
And knowing how to deal with people, because somewhat junior might have just come out, want to be, in the industry, might never have been speaking to people within all walks of life and just very shy. I mean, the modern age where people seem to just talk via messaging apps. Yeah. Actually, going to the pub and chatting to someone seems to be a dying art.
Yeah, and yeah, again, if you've got someone to learn from that's actually going up to these people and negotiating with them on one thing, again, PPE.
Yeah.
That's perhaps another takeaway from the episode is wear your PPE. When you see a camera, make sure you've got PPE on.
For our sake.
For our sake, yeah.
We're doing like an appeal now, aren't we?
When we're not there, it's on you. But when we're here, when you see lenses and cameras and lights and stuff like that, put the PPE on. Make sure you've got all the right PPE. And
just one helpful piece of PPE worn will make our lives easier.
Exactly.
There's no donating. You don't need to donate money to us. Just wear PPE and we'll be happier.
Craig, I've really enjoyed this, mate. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I've enjoyed geeking out with another creative about the wonderful world of construction marketing and creativity. And that's me signing off because I don't know how to sign off. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Cheers.